As you can tell, I am fascinated by the hearing and the ear and the whole thing because the last video I talked about the anatomy and physiology of the ear, and today I'm going to extend off of that because I think it's really important to understand it in order to make ourselves hear better in the world. So we think about challenges with our hearing loss, we educate ourselves, and we come up with strategies to make it easier for us to hear in our work life as well as our personal life. This is why I created this channel. Welcome to Healthy Hearing Loss. My name is Dee Dee. I created a couple clips. The first clip is going to be about going outside into the environment to learn how a hearing person hears. Now, I had to use my husband as the subject because he's hearing and I had nobody else to help me, and plus I can't do it because I'm not a hearing or a person with hearing loss. And he volunteered to go, so we got in our truck and we drove down to the river and we sat on a bench. And I basically asked him, what do you hear? And he talked about what he did hear, what he didn't hear, what was his distraction, as well as how he could not get rid of distractions or how he could get rid of distractions, like drown out background noise. And so that's the first clip that I'm going to show you. And the second one is a clip on the guitar. Now, my husband is a luthier and he makes acoustic guitars. And I was very fascinated by the fact that he could make this guitar. There's so many parts. So I thought, well, you know what? Could I compare the guitar to the ear because they both go through the process of receiving sound and some vibration going on and frequencies, and then it is received and interpreted by our brain, either by music or if you're listening to something like words or speech. It's fascinating. It's just such a complex part of our body that I just love the ear. I think it's fascinating. Now, with us having hearing loss, it is important to understand the ear foundationally anyway, because it's all about collecting sound, transmitting sound, receiving sound, and interpreting sound. That is how we're going to continue with all the videos coming up, because those are the main themes that we need to understand technology. You have hearing aids, but they're not enough. You need assistive listening devices to make certain things easier to hear. And you need to understand that collect, transmit, receive, and interpret. But we'll get to that at the very end of the series. So those are the two clips that I'm including in this video as another way for you to understand the hearing and how it works. It's super important. All right, let's go watch those clips. So go ahead and tell me about the sounds that you hear.
Very calm out here today. This is part of the river that's actually more like a lake because it opens up. It's very still. There's no wind. It's very still. It's very quiet, except for occasionally you hear some ducks. And up here, there's a roadway. There's a bridge over here that links two parts of town, and it's kind of noisy. It kind of drowns out what you want to hear over here. There's cars go by that you can hear them coming from a distance. They get louder and louder, and then they kind of fade away as they go away.
What do you hear? What are the sounds you hear out?
A lot of those sounds, I'd probably hear more if it wasn't for the traffic behind us, because the traffic is pretty constant. It's not a terribly busy street, but it's busy enough that it's, the speed is of that it just generates enough sound. I see some ducks. They look like they're getting together for late Sunday afternoon dinner or something. Pretty classic duck quacking. And that's really, this is the duck. But again, I'd probably hear more if it wasn't for the traffic behind me. Sometimes occasionally you hear a crow. And that's really the sound that I'm hearing right now.
Can you drown it out if you need to?
No.
It's pretty loud.
Well, can I drown it? It's there. It's just there. I can't change it.
I know, but can you diminish it and be able to hear what's like out here more?
If I were to really concentrate, I might be able to hear better, but it's there, and it's the overpowering.
It's going to distract you.
It's going to distract us. It's going to cover any sound from here, make it impossible to hear everything that I might want to hear. guitar. It's by design. It's rigid. The braces are kind of beefy to help it project sound. It's radius, which means it's curved in two directions on the back, so that it gives kind of a barrel kind of effect. So the sound it can sort of ricochet off the back of the guitar and project through the sound hole. The top is braced with lighter braces. This would be the top. To allow the top to move. It's a thinner, lighter material so that it can move with the sound. It can take the sound and it can move kind of like an eardrum. So the bracing is different and lighter. When this is completed, there'll be a rigid part that sits on the top of this called the bridge. And the sound, when the string is plucked or strummed, the sound is created in the bridge, which creates a vibration on the top, which by bouncing that sound off the rigid back, it creates this sound through the sound hole that's pleasant to hear. When the guitar is completed, the sound is really created by stretching a string. The strings are stretched over a piece of bone. It's a very hard, dense material, right in the softest, most vibrant part of the soundboard. This is considered the soundboard. And the strings stretch over this other piece of bone. Again, it's a hard, dense material that gets the most vibration and the most resonance out of the strings. If they were going over a softer piece of wood, it wouldn't give the sound, it wouldn't have the tone. So there's other materials that can be used besides bone. Corian, like a countertop, these happen to be bone because that's what this guitar maker uses. And it's a very dense, thick material that allows for the resonance. And the resonance is transformed from here to the soundboard. And then because the soundboard is more flexible than the back of the guitar, it creates that sound, and the sound comes from the sound hole so that we can interpret it from that. Like parts of the ear, there's different frequencies, very low frequencies to very high frequencies. And then the player themselves, by using their fingers to depress the string,
I hope you enjoyed those. The second clip about the guitar, I had put in little titles with question marks of parts of the guitar that may resemble the ear in the hearing. And that's just my perception. That's how I thought about it. It's how I interpreted it. But maybe you came up with something different. If you did, please tell me in the description below. I'd love to know what your thought process is. All right, so that is the end of this video. And if you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll know about the next video in the series coming on up. All right, take care. Bye.